By golly, it's amazing. It sounds like something you'd hear on the radio.
Presenting the transcription feature.
The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson.
It's 8:30 New York time. Time to wake up, America, and stump the expert.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Johnny Dollar.
Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve.
And now meet Dick Calmer as Boston Blackie.
It's the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show, presented transcribed by the makers of Rexall drug products.
And now it's time to meet the men from the ministry.
The Armed Forces Radio and Television Service presents the Bob Hope Show with Les Brown and his band of renown. And yours truly, Bill Goodwin. And now here he is, Bob Hope.
Greetings, I'm Kevin Lauderdale. We start off with another compilation of tales from old California, the days of the Dons. The Romance of the Ranchos was one of the more unusual series to be broadcast during the golden age of radio. Each episode traced the history of a certain district of Southern California, from the days of the Ranchos, when everything was still owned by Spain and Mexico in the 1700s, up to the then contemporary times, the 1940s. This was done through a series of vignettes, hosted by Frank Graham, the wandering vaquero, Spanish for cowboy, who employed a sort of time marches on narration. By the way, you'll notice that he never pronounces Los Angeles correctly. I think Bugs Bunny's two mangled pronunciations of it in My Bunny Lies Over the Sea come from Romance of the Ranchos. The guy cannot pronounce Los Angeles any way, shape, or form. In none of the show's 35 episodes does he get it right. The show ran on CBS from September of 1941 to May of 1942. It would dramatize 3 or 4 important incidents in the development of each area, once huge tracts of land, now subdivided into cities. The ranchos were given by regional governors to political figures, military leaders, and businessmen. The land was largely unsettled, though in many places Native Americans did live there. They ranged from just a few thousand acres, some of what is now San Jose, was Rancho Cañada de los Capitancillos, given in 1842, and that was 1,100 acres. Rancho Los Nietos, given in 1784, was 167,000 acres. It's now a lot of Orange County, and Long Beach, Anaheim, Garden Grove, Whittier. Particularly if you were a listener living in Southern California at the time, it must have been very exciting to hear about the history of the place you lived, how Rancho San Pascual became Pasadena and Altadena. Ranchos San Pedro and Palos Verdes still retained their names. There was an episode about William Mulholland of Mulholland Drive and the Southland water system, and all of this, as you will hear, was packed with vivid historical detail. The show was sponsored by the Title Insurance and Trust Company of Los Angeles. Title companies ensure that your mortgage is legitimate. Basically, the person selling you the land actually owns it and is allowed to sell it to you. And indeed, that was usually a plot point of one of the vignettes in each episode. Vasquez Rocks gets a mention. You may have seen those in several episodes of Star Trek, the original series, particularly. That's where Kirk fights the Gorn. And the pageant, originally novel, Ramona is also mentioned. We covered that on this show back in 2015 in a Screen Guild Theater episode. Now, from November 26th, 1941, The Romance of the Ranchos, the Newhall region, and the Rancho del Valle.
The Romance of the Ranchos. Newhall, 1842. First gold discovered in California. Newhall, 1876. Railroad gives Los Angeles first link with East. Newhall, 1924. Old Rancho finally passes from hands of illustrious California family. the Title Insurance and Trust Company of Los Angeles presents The Romance of the Ranchos, a program dramatizing the wealth of exciting and fascinating incidents that color the history of Southern California. Each week, our wandering vaquero, Frank Graham, unfolds another authentic story of the days of the dawn. The Title Insurance and Trust Company of Los Angeles wishes to thank the many officials and teachers of the city and county schools who have expressed so much interest in this series of programs. Every precaution is taken to ensure the historical accuracy of these dramatizations. When you hear the thrilling story of your own community reenacted here, you may be sure that the historical facts given are correct, even though the adventure and romance portrayed may seem stranger and more exciting than fiction. We are fortunate indeed to live in a land with such a colorful background, and one that at the same time presents so many advantages and opportunities for present-day living. And here to tell us the story is our wandering vaquero, Frank Graham.
Buenas noches, señoras y señores. Tonight our story deals with an interesting section of the Southland adjoining San Fernando, the region of Newhall and Saugus and the upper Santa Clara Valley. Not the least interesting part of this story is the fact that only recently has part of this land passed from the Del Valle family to whom it was originally granted. This is a tale rich in the romance of the Ranchos. In 1839, Don Antonio, the founder of the Del Valle family in California, received 48,611 acres from the governor, and thus began the great Rancho San Francisco. But Don Antonio died in 1841, leaving his great estate to his widow and children, who later turned their interests over to the eldest son, Don Ignacio del Valle, lieutenant of the Mexican Army. It was about the year 1842 that Don Ignacio brought his bride, the beautiful Isabel Varela, to live in his new rancho home.
Ignacio, it is beautiful, so beautiful.
You like it, Isabel?
See, how could I help it? Such a fine hacienda.
Ah, see, and the corrals and vineyards. Hey, look out there, across the valley. Such fine pasture land. Why, before long, Camulos will be one of the greatest cattle ranchos in all California.
Camulos?
See, that is the name by which this part of the Rancho San Francisco is known.
But what does it mean?
It is Indian, for juniper tree or shelter.
Shelter. See, it is our shelter, is it not, Ignacio?
Oh, see, and it always will be. But wait, you have not seen it all.
There is more?
See, right this way, to the little room of the house.
But what more could we ask than all of this?
Now, you shall see. There, you see?
Ignacio, oh, Ignacio, it is a little chapel.
See, I built it especially for you.
Look, a small altar, everything. Oh, it is so beautiful.
Here you may lead us all in prayer each sundown.
See, in prayers of thanksgiving that such a wonderful home should be ours, for here is everything we could wish. It is indeed our shelter. Ignacio, my husband, let us kneel down and thank God for this home, our Rancho Camulos. May it be a haven for us always, and for our children, and our children's children, forever.
The life of Rancho San Francisco, and the section of it called Camulos, was a pastoral idyll, serene and filled with sunshine. A first warning of the great events to come took place one day when a cattleman by the name of Francisco Lopez was riding through the canyons with a companion.
Francisco, perhaps they're up this canyon, huh?
Bah, I'm sick of looking for stray horses. Let us rest a while, eh?
Oh, but Francisco, they are valuable animals. We must find them.
The way I feel now, I don't care if I never find them again. Let them run up one canyon and down another. Let them hide behind the rocks and stand in the shade so we cannot see them. I do not care. I am sick of being led all over these hills by a roguish pair of horses. Is this why I spent years at the School of Mines in the city of Mexico? Is this why I spent weeks and months of study? To be playing niñera to a herd of four-footed vagabonds?
Oh, and a fine nursemaid you are, too. Niñera to a bunch of horses. That is rich.
Here I stop. am hot, and I am sticky, and I am tired. Those decrepit antecedents of Rosinante may kick up their heels all they like. I'm going to turn mine up in the shade of that tree. Oh, I need to rest.
Very well, mi amigo. We shall take siesta in the shade, but only for a while. Soon we must be on our way after the Fort Hood Diablos.
See, but right now I want to just lie here. Let the horses graze in command. At last, I may rest my creaking joints. Wow!
You had better pick your spot more carefully, mi amigo. The cactus leaf does not make the best of resting places. Try the wild onion patch over there. It'll be much softer, I assure you. And I did not have to go to university to learn that.
Why am I plagued with such a loco? Wild onions, eh? Ah, that reminds me I must bring home some greens for Maria. For tonight we are to share a meal with guests. Oh, well, I may as well get them now. Lend me your hunting knife, Juan.
See, but do not dull it. Be sure you use it on the onions, not on any cactus.
Be quiet, or I shall use it on you, you loco. Yeah, I hope these are not as tough in the eating as in the cutting.
Dig them out by the roots. I did not have to go to university to learn about that either.
But before I lose my temper, I know how to dig wild onions. I need none of your advice. Oh! There it is. And a huge one it is, too. Look at it, a meal in itself.
See, if you care for such a meal. As for me, give me a great, big, tasty...
Juan, look at this. Clinging to the roots. A sparkling pebble.
See, so it is. How it shines in the sun. Oh, it would make a pretty trinket for my little Juanita. She likes shiny pebbles. I shall take it home to her.
Wait. You shall not take this one home to Juanita. Do you realize what this is, Juan? This is not a pebble. It is gold. A nugget of gold.
What are you talking about, Francisco? Gold? Why, there is no gold around here.
You can tell me about horses. You can tell me about digging wild onions. But you can't tell me anything about gold. For that I studied in the university. This is gold. I know it.
You are sure?
See, Juan, take the knife. Dig more plants. Look for more of these little pebbles. Perhaps we have found a placer. A placer of gold.
And Francisco Lopez had found a placer of gold. More than 6 years before Marshall's discovery at Sutter's Creek electrified the world and changed the whole course of California's destiny, the yellow metal was found on Rancho San Francisco. Prospectors from Los Angeles flocked to the canyons of the Santa Clara. But the small quantity of water hindered any large-scale operations, and it remained for Northern California to become the mecca of the gold-hungry crowds. Life on Rancho San Francisco was largely untouched by the turn of affairs, but once again its pastoral solitude was broken by an incident which formed a part of great events to come. It was one day in March of 1850 that Don Ignacio was startled with the news.
Don Ignacio, come quick!
See, Juan, what is it?
Don Ignacio, in the pasture down by the arroyo, the dead have risen from the grave.
What?
See?
Juan, what are you talking about?
I saw it with my own eyes. Men and women come back from the dead. Their cheeks hollow, their eyes sunk, like walking skeletons.
Juan, what is this?
The dead have arisen to murder us as they are killing our cattle right now.
What? Killing our cattle?
See, and eating the meat raw.
Then they are not ghosts, but people. And they cannot do that. It is against the law.
Law? What do the dead care for the law?
Come quickly and show me. We must stop them.
Oh, senor, so I would rather stay here.
Come and hurry.
Senor, Madre de Dios.
Juan, look. They are people. They were people. They are starved, exhausted.
See, they are almost dead.
Senores!
Stand back. Stand back. I have a gun. I'll use it.
But, senor,
Don't try to stop us, mister. We need food, and we'll kill to get it.
But, senor, of course. This is my rancho, my cattle. I do not intend to stop you. Only, senor, won't you? All of you come to my house and rest. Let me give you food. Cooked food.
Oh, mister, I don't know who you are, but you look like God to me. We've been lost in the desert for weeks. How many? I don't know. Well, you can see for yourself.
See, but come, let us not waste time in talk. Come with me. You shall have food and water.
Water. Kirk. Steady.
Catch the boy. He's fainted. Here you are, amigos. Our fattest beef. Eggs, corn, tortillas, frijoles, anything you wish.
And water. Gallons of water. Mister, I don't know how we can ever thank you enough for this.
Don't thank me, senor. I have thanks enough in seeing you eat, as much as you can hold.
Well, you're certainly going to see that. Mister, I don't know what's wrong with my stomach. I can't stand the pain much longer. And the others.
See, it is the same. Oh, mi amigo, I am so sorry. I should have known. You cannot eat so much after having eaten nothing for weeks. It is not good.
Can't you do something?
I have sent for the doctor. He will be here soon.
He'd better hurry. We'll all die a worse death than the ones we left behind on the desert.
A doctor arrived in time to save the agonized remnants of the ill-fated party, whose terrible sufferings gave Death Valley its name. But they were but one of the parties of valiant American pioneers who started one of the greatest mass movements the world has ever known, but one of the first ripples of that great wave of progress which was to transform the whole life and character of California. A few years later, as the value of most California ranchos was declining, Don Ignacio found an unusual interest centered on Rancho San Francisco.
Tell me, Senor Bard, why are you so interested in buying the Rancho San Francisco?
Well, now, Don Ignacio, I haven't said that I was interested in buying. I just wanted to know how much you'd ask, in case.
It is the same thing, and you know it, Senor. Don't try to, fool me, Senor. You did not even blink an eye when I said $50,000. You must want this land very badly, Senor.
No. Well, that is, I might be interested in it.
And why? That is what I want to know. It could not have anything to do with your Philadelphia and California oil company, could it?
Well, now,
just as I thought. You have heard the stories about oil which seeps up on my land, eh?
Stories, you say? You mean they're not true?
Oh, see, they are true, all right. When they were first discovered, I had visions of great riches, too, but now I don't know.
Well, my men have looked over this land, and I'm willing to take a chance on what they say. Now, as long as we have our cards on the table, Don Ignacio, I may as well admit it. I'll buy your land if you'll sell.
But, Senor, I do not want to sell. I have no reason to. That is why I named such a high price.
Well, I'll pay your price and more if you'll sell.
Senor, you mean you'll pay that much money?
Now, look, I'll put all my cards on the table. I'm willing to pay $1.25 an acre. That comes to about $58,000. If you take that figure, I'll buy Rancho San Francisco.
Ignacio, my husband, is that you?
See, little doll, how are you?
Ignacio, you have sold the rancho?
See, I have sold the San Francisco. But how did you know?
A man was here. He said that we must get out of here, out of this house, off the land.
What? Out of here? No, Isabel. I sold Rancho San Francisco, but not our home. Not this part we call Camulos. This is ours, and it shall remain ours.
Oh, Ignacio, I am happy to hear you say that. I did not believe that ever you would sell our shelter, our Camulos.
Never, little dove. And I shall go to Senor Barr right away and find out what he means by this.
Jesús y María, háganme el favor de protestar nuestra casa.
Isabel.
Oh, my husband. Come, kneel beside me here before the altar. Here is such peace and love.
see, mi querida? You are burning a lamp?
See, it is burning in prayer that our shelter may not be taken from us.
And that is the news that I have for you. It shall not be. Camulos is ours and always shall be. A mistake was made. I had to buy back this land, but it is finished now. And no one can take it from us.
Oh, my husband, I knew God would grant my prayers. This shall be a perpetual lamp to burn for Camulos, as long as our children and grandchildren shall love it as we do.
Several times in these programs, we have referred to various causes of defective land titles against which a policy of title insurance provides protection. One of these risks is that of forgery. I'm going to tell you of an actual example of how this protection works. Several years ago, a highly respected citizen of a community near Los Angeles, the operator of a real estate and loan business, was found to be a forger. He had issued forged notes and trust deeds covering a large number of properties in Los Angeles County. He had forged the names of the owners of these properties and had sold the notes and trust deeds to investors, keeping for his own use the money thus realized. The men and women purchasing these forged notes and trust deeds had paid the forger for them amounts totaling more than $248,000. But some of these people had been wise enough to ask for policies of title insurance. Their investments amounted to more than $85,000. The title insurance companies reimbursed these insured investors both as to principal and accrued interest promptly after the forgeries were established. The investors of the other $163,000 who had not obtained title insurance were less fortunate. After 3 years of court proceedings, they obtained less than $9,000, or almost $154,000 less than they had put in. Forgery is but one of the several risks to land titles against which you can be protected by a policy of title insurance issued by the Title Insurance and Trust Company of Los Angeles. When you buy land or make a loan secured by land, insist on this protection.
The Philadelphia and California Oil Company failed. But years later, about 1875, 2 other men brought in one of Southern California's first oil wells in Pico Canyon. But the field was small compared to other Southern California fields, and although it created quite a stir then, its significance was soon past. Life on Don Ignacio's acres remained peaceful and quiet, except for an occasional visit from the notorious bandit Tiburcio Vasquez, whose hideout of Vasquez Rocks was near the rancho. On one such occasion...
Ignacio.
See, Isabel, what is it?
You must do something. This must not go on.
But, mi querida, what are you talking about?
Here, Juan, tell him.
See, tell me, Juan, what is it?
Nothing, senor. Just El Senor Vasquez.
Is that all you have to say? Aye. This man, this bandit, this murderer steals your horse and you say, aye. With you I am disgusted.
But, Isabel, he has not stolen my horse. He has just borrowed it. He leaves me his in return, and presently, some night, he will return and bring back my horse to exchange for his own.
See, Doña Isabel, he always does. He may be a bandit, but he's a man of honor. About horses, that is.
But don't you see he is using your horse for his unholy business? Robbing, killing.
See, perhaps. But what am I to do?
What are you to do? Are you not a man? Are you afraid of him?
Afraid of him? Well, why should I be? He likes me. Trusts me. Otherwise, he should not steal my horse.
That is just it. He trusts you. As a good citizen, you should not be trusted by him. You should turn him over to the authorities.
Turn him over to the police, eh?
Juan!
My dear, I could as easily turn over a mountain lion to the lands. What am I to do?
He will come back. You say so yourself. He will return your horse. Very well. Have men stationed and wait for him. Then when he comes...
Then when he comes...
when he comes, you are probably a widow. You like that?
You are cowards, both of you. Letting a stupid bandit frighten you. I shall be most angry if you do nothing to stop his treachery.
Very well, my dear. We shall watch for him. Juan, you are to stay by the corral every night, watching for him.
See, but what do I do?
When he shows up?
See.
You,
run like El Diablo.
After the failure of the company to find oil, the Rancho San Francisco came into the possession of H.M. Newhall of the Newhall Farming and Milling Company, and on it he plotted the town of Newhall and later Saugus. And in 1876, the Southern Pacific Railroad holed through the Newhall Tunnel and completed the first transcontinental rail link between Los Angeles and the East. Americans flocked to the new paradise of the Pacific, crowding out the old families of Californians and the fast-dying Indians. In the early 1880s, the government sent 2 experts to California to study the unenviable position of the native Indians in the frontier society. One of them was a guest at the home of aging Don Ignacio del Valle.
Don Ignacio, your Rancho Camulos is heavenly. I couldn't dream of a lovelier place to live.
I am happy, Senora. Make it your home as long as you will.
I only wish that it could be longer, but I shall always remember it. The hacienda, the chapel, that quaint rawhide couch on the porch, and... Oh, perhaps I shall put them all into my book.
Your book, Senora? You are writing a book?
Yes. I've learned so much about the Indians on my trip that my heart bleeds for them.
See, I know what you mean.
But their story can't be told in stuffy reports. I intend to tell it in a way that will touch people's hearts. So I'm writing a book.
It is an excellent idea. And what will you call your book, Senora?
I'm going to name it after my heroine, Ramona.
Ramona. I shall await its printing eagerly.
Helen Hunt Jackson wrote the immortal story of Ramona, and in it she used much of the scene of Don Ignacio's home at Rancho Camulos. And now the march of progress engulfed even the outlying Rancho San Francisco. The growing metropolis of Los Angeles quickly became an American city of industry and commerce, where once had stood the sleepy Spanish village. But there is disaster in every story of progress, and one of the Southland's greatest disasters took place on Rancho San Francisco. Towering high in the air within the bastion walls of San Francisquito Canyon, a great man-made barrier pinioned the waters of the vast mountainous acres, the St. Francis Dam. Like a great shadow, it loomed silent, menacing. And on that fateful night in 1928, without warning, it brought crushing horror to the valley of the Santa Clara.
What was that? That noise?
I don't.
Good Lord! George, look! The dam! The dam! It's cracked! A huge crack all the way down. Look at it! It's crumbling! It's breaking up! In a minute she's gonna let loose! Yeah, but the whole valley will be flooded. In Santa Paula. It'll wipe the whole town out. Yeah, and our families are there. Oh, good Lord, what can we do? It's too late to warn. Look at it! It's breaking! Come on, then! We gotta get out of here fast! Run! Run for your life!
A great 20-foot wall of water rushed down the valley of the Santa Clara to the sea. With it, it carried the wreckage of farms and homes and towns and scores of human lives. Millions of dollars of damage was done in one of the Southland's greatest disasters. But to the Rancho San Francisco, or that part of it called Camulos, a more personal tragedy had already taken place. It was one day in the year 1924, only a few years ago, when...
They're still in there.
Yeah. Almost an hour now.
Funny how people like to stay in that little chapel.
Oh, it ain't so funny. If you'd been here at Camulos as long as I have, maybe you'd understand. You see, the boss, Don Lupiano del Valle, he was born here. This land has belonged to his family for 85 years. His father, Don Ignacio, built this house and that chapel.
Sure, I know all that. Oh, it's just an old ranch house, just a little chapel. It isn't used very much anymore.
Slim, you just don't get it. Now, look. You see that flickering light at the window?
Sure, you can always see that.
That's what I mean. That there's a lamp. It's been burning there for 60 years. It ain't never gone out. You understand?
Well, now, I don't rightly believe that.
But it's true. 60 years, and it's the same fire. Old Doña Isabel lit it way back in 1865. Yeah, and they've kept it going all these years.
What for Pete's sake? They can put electric lights in there now.
But don't you see? It's a tradition. It's part of the rancho, part of the Del Valle family. Oh, what's the use trying to tell a dumb ranch hand like you anything?
I ain't so dumb. Maybe I can understand them going in that there chapel, staying so long. But what I can't figure out is, what are we doing standing here in the shadows, waiting for them?
Because, Slim, this is the last time. When they come out tonight, they won't go back in again.
You mean, 'cause they sold the ranch?
Yeah, they sold the ranch. Camulus. For 85 years, Camulus has belonged to the Del Valles. And now...
Look. Lights are going out.
Yeah. 85 years and the lamp is out.
Well, I guess that's the end of it.
Yeah, I guess so. Slim, lend me your handkerchief. I got something in my eye.
Frank Graham will be back in a moment to tell you about next week's program. The Title Insurance and Trust Company of Los Angeles suggests that during the coming week you take advantage of the pleasurable opportunities afforded by the All-Winter Sun Festival, sponsored by the All-Year Club of Southern California. The All-Year Club has assembled information on all the scores of interesting and colorful events scheduled throughout Southern California during the winter months. This information is available for the convenience and pleasure of Southland residents as well as of visitors from other states. By familiarizing ourselves with these events, we can all be better hosts to our eastern visitors, and we can have more fun ourselves. Tell your neighbors, friends, and business correspondents about the All-Winter Sun Festival. And now, what's the story for next week, Frank?
Next week, we'll tell you the story of one of the great patriarchs of early California, Don Antonio Maria Lugo, head of one of its most illustrious families. There's romance and adventure, so be sure to hear it. And so until next week, this is your wandering vaquero, Frank Graham, saying, Hasta la vista, señoras y señores.
The Romance of the Ranchos, a presentation of the Title Insurance and Trust Company of Los Angeles, is dramatized by John Dunkel and produced by Ted Bliss, with special music arranged by Irwin Yo. Bob Lamont speaking. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Time now for some Jack Benny. This is a little staticky, but it's got the gang doing a play set in old California during the days of the Ranchos. So, of course, I've got to include it here. Notes, Chuck Reisner was a movie director. And for anyone who still thinks Eddie Rochester Anderson got a raw deal or was ill-used, listen to the guys at Camp Pendleton, where this show is performed, clap for him. He easily gets the longest and the loudest applause. They love him. Rochester does a number from the 1943 film Cabin in the Sky, which he stars in, which was an adaptation of the 1940 Broadway musical of the same name. It's an all-black musical about a gambler, here, Anderson. On stage, the role was originated by Dooley Wilson, Sam from Casablanca, who is mortally wounded but gets a second chance at life. But both God's General and Lucifer Jr. start vying for his soul. Film stars Ethel Waters, Lena Horne, Louis Armstrong. It's a great film. If you're listening to this podcast, you'll enjoy that film. From May 16th, 1943, recorded at Camp Pendleton, The Jack Benny Show, Rancho Benny.
The Grape Nuts Flakes program coming to you from the Marine Base at Camp Pendleton, California, and starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Dennis Day, Rochester, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Hey, friends, ever notice how your grocer smiles as he hands you a big 12-ounce economy-size package of delicious, toasty brown Grape Nuts Flakes? That's because grand-tasting, nourishing Grape Nuts Flakes are not rations. You can have all you want. And then you feel pleased as you carry your Grape Nuts Flakes home, thinking of all the marvelous whole grain nourishment your folks will get in each crisp, tempting bowlful. The same way your husband will feel when he samples the amazing goodness of Grape Nuts Flakes. As sweet as a nut, malty richness that's wide awake, lip-smacking, swell. Yes, Grape Nuts Flakes bring you more smiles per mouthful. So, for a round of smiles at your home tomorrow, make it Grape Nuts Flakes all around the table. Tonight's the Night, played by the orchestra. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Marine Base at Camp Pendleton, California, we bring you our two-fisted master of ceremonies.
Well,
a man who has been known to chin himself 10 times before he could pull down the handle on a slot machine, Jack Benny.
Wow. Thank you. Hello again. This is Jack Benny, who never played a slot machine in his life, talking. And Don, I may be a little flabby now, but when I was the age of these boys in our audience, I was as tough and physically fit as any one of them. Why, when I was 17 years old, I worked a whole summer at a lumber camp in the North Woods.
A lumber camp in the North Woods? Were you a lumberjack jerk?
What?
I said, were you a lumberjack jerk?
A lumberjack jerk?
Well, I can't say were you a lumberjack jack. It doesn't sound right.
All right, then why don't you say was I a lumberjerk jack?
But jerk, there's no such thing as a lumberjerk.
Look, Don, let's start over. When I was 17 years old, I worked in a lumber camp in the North Woods.
Were you a lumberjack, John?
John, that's better. No, that's better. No, Don, I wasn't.
Well, were you a stripper, a man who hews the bark from the mighty monarchs of the forest?
No, I wasn't, Don.
Well, did you ride the logs down the river and break up jams by sheer brute strength?
No, I didn't, Don. No.
Well, what was your job in the camp?
I used to go around with a needle and remove slivers from the lumberjack's fingers. Oh, at the end of the day, I'd be exhausted, you know.
Exhausted from removing slivers?
Well, that wasn't the only job I had, Don. I was also a BBR.
What's that?
A baby bird remover. You see, before any tree could be cut down, I had to climb up on the branches and remove all the little baby birds from the nest.
Oh, I see. Then you'd climb back down the tree with the birds in your arms.
No, I didn't carry them in my arms. You see, Don, just as I got up to the nest, I'd whistle like a mother robin, and all the little birds would jump into the can of worms which I had tied on top of my head. I'll never forget the day I was attacked by an infuriated woodpecker.
A woodpecker? Was she mad?
I think so. She tapped out, "I hate you," in Morse code on the back of my neck. And they have sharp beaks. Oh, hello, Mary.
Hi, Jack, Don. What are you shooting the breeze about?
Shooting the breeze? Well, Mary, I see you're using some marine slang. Where'd you pick it up?
Well, I met a couple of Liberty Hounds who were on the beach at Oceanside. At Oceanside last night, and we all went to a restaurant for a cup of joe with sidearms.
Oh, I get it. You met a couple of Marines on leave and had coffee with them. You know, that lingo is nothing new to me. I used to talk like that when I was a Marine during the First World War.
Oh, pardon me, Jack, but weren't you a sailor during the World War?
Oh, yes.
He was a Marine during the Spanish-American War.
Mary, it so happens that during the Spanish-American War, I was just a bashful kid hiding behind my mother's apron.
But they came and got you, and in you went.
That you're making up, you know. But while we're on the subject of Marines, Mary, let me tell you something. If I wasn't 2 years over the age limit, I'd join tomorrow. Of course, 7 weeks in boot camp might be a little tough on me.
7 weeks?
Yeah.
7 minutes in boot camp, and you die with your boots on.
Oh, I could stand it. Say, any man who has spent as much time as I have in the lumber camps in the North Woods has got to be tough.
Oh, go sit in a bird's nest.
I didn't sit in a bird's nest. I rescued the egg. Well, if it isn't the knucklehead kid. Hello, Dennis.
Hello, Mr. Benny. What's all the chin music about?
Chin music? Where'd you get hold of that marine lingo, Dennis?
I know all of it.
You do?
Yeah, get this. Last night I bumped into a couple of Liberty Hounds on the beach at Oceanside, and we bought a bottle of red lead and got cockeyed.
Dennis, red lead happens to be ketchup. Now, how could you get cockeyed on ketchup?
I'm about the only guy I know that can do it.
Oh, boy, what an imagination.
I get a bang out of mustard, too, but it's habit forming.
But it's what, Dennis?
It's habit forming.
Oh. Well, Dennis, before you go on another binge, how about singing a song for the boys?
Okay, but I didn't get a chance to rehearse this morning. The orchestra didn't show up.
Oh, so the orchestra didn't show up. Where's that Phil Harris? Oh, Phil? Were you calling me, you D.I. headache? That I don't see here at all. Yes, come on over here, Phil. Come on. Say, Phil, Dennis tells me that you and your orchestra boys didn't show up for rehearsal this morning. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Like Paul Revere said at Bunker Hill, I cannot tell a lie.
Phil, Paul Revere didn't say that. It was George Washington.
Well, you used to knock around with them guys. I got to read about them.
Phil, look, don't evade the issue. Why didn't you and your boys show up for rehearsal this morning?
We didn't hear the bugle.
Now cut that out. I want the truth.
Well, it's like this, Jackson. Me and the boys went down to Tijuana last night on a goodwill mission.
I see. Continue.
Well, it was pretty hot down there, and some of the boys got thirsty. So I said, well, let's go in this drugstore here and get a tall, refreshing glass of water.
Uh-huh.
So I speak a little Spanish myself, you know. So I says to the guy, I said, give us all a glass of tequila. That's water, you know, Bon Aqua.
Water, Phil, for your information, tequila is an intoxicating beverage.
Well, bless my soul.
Now, Phil, what happened after you drank that tequila?
Well, let's see. You know, it's hard to patch this stuff together, Jackson.
Well, concentrate. What happened?
Well, now, let me see. Now, after we left the drugstore, we followed a beautiful Mexican dame to her home, and I sang some songs under her balcony.
Well.
Did you ever get smacked right in the kisser with a tamale?
No, but so much for romance south of the border. Well, let's have your song, Dennis. Oh, by the way, kid, I saw that, Dennis, I saw that movie you just made, Powers Girl, and you were swell. I watched you all through the picture.
Thank you.
Well, that's Benny for you. A picture full of beautiful models, and he can't take his eyes off the tenor.
Quiet. Go ahead and sing, Dennis.
His cousin had sent him a letter, and his sister sent a sweater, but he wanted something much better.
this boy was sailing away. For his buddies were there with their sweethearts, all around him with their sweethearts. Now he'd never had any sweetheart, so over and over he'd say, in my arms, ain't I never gonna get a girl in my arms, in my arms, in my arms. Ain't I never gonna get a bundle of charms? Comes the dawn, I'll be gone. I just gotta have a honey holding me tight. You can keep your knitting and your purling. If I'm gonna go to Berlin, give me a girl in my arms tonight. In my arms, in my arms. Ain't I never gonna get a girl in my arms? In my arms, in my arms. Ain't I never gonna get a bundle of charms? Comes the dawn, I'll be gone. And I thank you for the many letters you'll write. As for something nice and cute and female, I'll never find her in the female. Give me a girl in my arms tonight. Comes the dawn, I'll be gone. And though every little parting gift suits me right, thank you very kindly, Mr. Benny, but you can keep your lucky penny. Give me a girl in my arms tonight. Give me a girl in my arms tonight.
That was In My Arms, sung by Dennis Day, and very good, Dennis. I'm sure all the Marines here enjoyed it very much. And now, ladies and
by the
gentlemen...
way, Jack, as long as we're here at Camp Pendleton, I have a story I'd like to tell you about a young man who wanted to join the Marines.
Is it a true story, Don? I mean, is it believable?
Oh, yes. It happened to a friend of mine, Homer B. Leavable.
Oh. Oh, I mean, I say, well, tell us the story, Don.
Well, Mr. Leavable was a young man 17 years of age who wanted to join the Marines.
Oh.
So one morning, Homer went to a Marine recruiting station and, to his dismay, found that he was 12 ounces underweight. So he was rejected.
12 ounces underweight? Too bad.
However, Homer was undaunted. He went home, rushed into the kitchen, and ate a whole 12-ounce economy-size package of toasty brown sweet as a nut grape nut flakes.
Paper and all?
No, he put them in a bowl.
Oh, I mean, go ahead.
Well, that very same day, he went back to the recruiting office, and the doctor said, "Congratulations, young man, you've made the weight."
And he got in the Marines?
No, the added weight gave him flat feet.
Well, that was tough luck. Very good, Don. And now, ladies and gentlemen, say, Mary, do you think that was a true story?
Sure, lots of people have flat feet. Look at yours.
Mary, I haven't got flat feet.
Go on. Your footprints in the sand have fooled many a duck hunter.
There's very little buckshot in my bathing suit, Miss Livingston. It was those water wings that fooled them. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for our feature attraction tonight, we are offering a very unusual play. About 200 years ago, on the very site of this Marine base, Camp Pendleton, there was a great Mexican ranch known as the Rancho Santa Margarita. So this evening, we would like to show you what life was like on a typical rancho in those early days. In other words, our sketch will take you back 200 years.
And don't think we haven't got the jokes for it.
You're crabbing everything. Inasmuch as I am the only member, Chuck Reisner won't like it, inasmuch as I am the only member of our cast who speaks Spanish, I will play the part of a wealthy landowner, Don Jose Benny.
I speak Spanish, Mr. Benny.
You do? Now, the part of my daughter...
si yo conocía una vez, señorita, me enseñó a hablar español y comer enchiladas también.
Yes, sir. Now, the part of my daughter...
What did Dennis say to you, Jack? What's he talking about?
I don't know.
But you said you spoke Spanish.
I speak it, but I don't understand it. Now, the part of my daughter...
Bueno, señor Benny, diga usted algo. Estoy ansioso.
Bonus notches, Dennis. Bonus notches. Now, the part of my daughter... I can't speak Spanish, eh? Now, the part of my daughter... Conchita, Rosita, Margarita, Pepita, Benet will be played by Mary Livingston. Phil Harris will be a Yankee salesman, and Don...
Yes, Jack?
To make the Rancho authentic, you're playing the part of a herd of cattle. So, pin these 500 tails on your pants and let's get going. Now, this play will be presented immediately after a band number by Phil Harris. How about it, Phil?
Well, I'd like to, Jackson, but we didn't have no chance to rehearse and it'll sound ragged.
What?
You know, it won't be my usual smooth, dreamy style.
Dreamy? Phil, just because people close their eyes when they hear you play, don't let it go to your head. Now, let's have it. Wait a minute, I'll take it. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Benny, this is Rochester.
Now, listen, Rochester, when you left Los Angeles last night, I told you to be here for the program today. Now, where are you?
Well, a friend of mine offered to drive me to Camp Pendleton, but on the way down, we got a flat tire.
I see. Between Los Angeles and Camp Pendleton, you had a flat tire. Where are you calling from?
Tijuana.
Tijuana?
Tijuana, come down here, or shall I come up there?
Now, you come up here. Now, let me ask you something, Rochester. In driving from Los Angeles to Camp Pendleton, how could you possibly get to Tijuana, which is 50 miles south of here?
Well...
Well, what?
Well, boss.
Well, boss, what?
Are you well, boss?
Yes, I'm well. Now, Rochester, I want the truth. You went down to Tijuana for a good time, didn't you?
Oh, no, boss. All I had since I've been here is a couple of glasses of buttermilk.
Buttermilk, eh? Are you sure that wasn't tequila you drank?
It could be. My cigars lit at both ends.
I thought so. Now, listen, Rochester, I want you to get right over here to Camp Pendleton. I promise these boys you'll do a song for them.
Okay, I'll be there.
Good. Did you bring your music with you?
It's right on my hip, boss. I wrapped a bottle of buttermilk in it.
Well, see you later. Goodbye. Don't worry, fellas. He'll be here, and I'll have him do a song for you.
Gosh, if he's in Tijuana now, he can't possibly get here in time for the program.
This is radio, kid. Wake up. Bonehead notches. Play, Phil. You're Driving Me Crazy, played by Phil Harris and the orchestra. Now for our play about life on the Rancho 200 years ago. Remember, Mary, you're going to be my daughter. Phil, you're the Yankee salesman. And Don, you're a herd of cattle.
How many head?
Just one head, Don. Like I told you, 500 tails. All right, let's get going.
What about me, Mr. Benny? Am I going to be in the play?
Oh, yes. Pardon me, kid. Dennis, you're going to be my daughter's sweetheart, Don Deniso Dopo. So here we go to the Rancho Benny. Curtain music. Don Jose Benny. I am one lucky man. I have beautiful daughter, I have beautiful rancho, and 500 head of beautiful cattle. They are so big, so fat. I think I will send them to market soon.
No!
Okay, I wait. Here come my little daughter, Conchita, Rosita, Maquita, Pepita, Lolita, Juanita, Benny.
My papa, Don Jose Benny, with a lousy toupee.
Conchita, my darling, I have good news for you. Tomorrow you marry Don Deniso Dopo, big tortilla man from Tijuana.
But I have never seen this Don Dopo. He's a stranger to me.
After the wedding, you will get acquainted. Don Deniso Dopo make fine husband, Conchita. Marry him, and you will have 5, maybe 10, maybe 15 children.
Boys or girls?
Mix them up! Mix them up! Mix them up, that's all. Then it is settled. Here comes Don Dopo from the depot. He stopped quick. Come in. Don Dopo, did you have nice trip?
Si.
Come here, Don Dopo. I would like to present to you to my daughter, Conchita, Rosita, Maquita, Pepita, Lolita, Juanita, Patuta, Petita, Patuta, Benny. You like her, yes?
Oh, es, vea. Esperó ansioso el momento de tenerla en mis brazos.
You understand what he say, Conchita?
Only the whistle.
I must talk with Don Dopo alone, Conchita. So go in kitchen and put kettle on.
But I am already wearing sombrero.
Put kettle on stove, not on head. Now, scramble.
Oh, you mean I should take the powder?
Yes. Now, Don Dopo, we talk business. If you marry my daughter, I give you 50 cow.
Only 50 cow? If I marry Don Pedro Alvarez's daughter, he give me 50 cow and throw in the bowl.
But I am not throwing the bull. I really give you 50 cow. You will marry Conchita, Rosita, Maquita, Pepita, Lolita, Juanita, Benita, Benny tomorrow. And your brother Pancho, he will be best man.
But my brother Pancho is dead. He was killed by a weasel.
How could a man be killed by a little weasel?
He was standing on the track. The train came along and he did not hear the weasel. That is one big joke. I am laughing. Even Pancho went to pieces.
Anyway, it is settled. You will marry my daughter tomorrow. Now, if you will help me, I will call her in. Oh, Conchita, Rosita, Maquita, Pepita, Lolita, take it.
Juanita, Anita, Franchita, Carlita, take it.
Tosalita, Belita, Benny. Will you come in here, please?
Were you all calling me all?
We're south of the borders, huh? It is settled, my daughter. Tomorrow we will have wedding, and you will marry Don Dopo.
But I do not love these Dopo. I love Gringo.
What Gringo?
Phil with the curly Harris.
Phil Harris. Last week he mixed up program with ad lib. Yes.
Who is this Gringo? I will kill him.
Be careful, Don Dopo. Phil Harris is one tough hombre. He is big man.
I got no care for him. I no care if he is twice my big and 3 times my heavy. I kill him.
must be same horse. He is coming into the house. Don Dopo, what are you doing with that knife?
I got hangnail.
Come in. Ah, my love there, my sweetheart.
Ah, Conchita, Rosita, Marquita, Pepita, Lolita, Juanita, Anita, Benita, Francita, Carlita, Belita, Margarita, Bene, I love you.
Who do you love?
I'm not going through that again, sister.
Now listen to me, gringo. I do not care how much you love my daughter. I have promised her to Don Do.
And don't forget those 50 cows.
You will get them.
But, Papa, I love Americano.
I do not care. Listen, gringo. I give you just 3 to leave this rancho.
Look out, Phil. He's got a gun.
You're on my side. All right, gringo. I am going to count 3, and if you do not leave, I will shoot. 1, 2. Darn it, I forgot the Spanish word for 3. I don't care. I shoot you anyway. Miss me. Then I will shoot Don Dopo. He's closer.
Miss me, too.
Well, I know one thing I cannot miss. Well, see, Don, everybody, we will have steak for dinner. And now, fellas, here's Rochester all ready to sing Taking a Chance on Love from his new picture, Cabin in the Sky.
Here I go again. I hear those trumpets blow again. All aglow again. Taking a chance on love. Here I slide again. About to take that ride again. Starry-eyed again. Taking a chance on love. I thought the cards were a frame up. I never would try. But now I'm taking the game up and the 8 hearts tied. On the ball again, I'm riding for a fall again. I'm gonna give my all again, taking a chance on love. Now I'm wading in again. I'm leading with my chin again. I'm starting out to win again, taking a chance. Oh, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, the United States has a job to do. We're marching together to win a bitter struggle. And to win this war, the United States of America, that means you and me and everybody in this nation, must be strong, clear-headed, wide-awake, healthy. That is why our government is spending so much time and money and effort to see that every American eats to win, so that he can work to win this war. We must all get a nourishing, well-balanced diet. Therefore, our government urges us to eat the basic 7 foods every day, as outlined in Uncle Sam's nutrition program. We're proud that cereals, whole grain or restored, are one of the 7 basic foods. We're proud that delicious unrationed Grape Nuts Flakes is a whole grain cereal member of the basic 7. And we're proud to cooperate in urging our fellow Americans to start tomorrow with this firm resolve: every day from now on, I'll eat the basic 7.
Next week, Gardner Field, California. Good night, folks.
Since the Marine Corps does not endorse any product, this broadcast is not intended as an endorsement of our product by the Marine Corps.
That's your old-time radio fix for this week. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Be sure to subscribe to The Chronic Rift on iTunes or visit us frequently at chronicrift.com.
Hit it! Ding, a dink-a-doo, a dink-a-dee, a dink-a-doo. What a voice! What a voice! Simply means ink. A dink-a-doo, a dink-a-dee. Good night, folks. Signing off.
Well, where are we going now, Robert?
Oh, I'm rolling over to the amusement park across the river.
Gee, I'll bet... I'll bet this same boat has carried so many couples in love. Hey, look at all the initials that are carved on the side.
Yeah, look at those right there. J.B. loves B.R. J.B., that must mean Jack Benny.
Well, who's B.R.?
Betsy Ross. Who do you think knitted his first toupee?